Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. We are back with episode 6 of season 2 of Frieren. There was a little bit of a break, so I'm very excited that we are back to our regular viewing of Frieren, especially because we only have a couple of episodes left before this is over. I don't know if there's been an announcement for season 3 yet or not. I don't think there has been, probably because season 2 hasn't yet finished, so maybe it'll be a couple of months after season 2 finishes that they kind of then give us a release date. I just don't want to have to say goodbye again, but it will be worth the wait because this season's been phenomenal. I've cried, I've laughed, it's been so funny. I also love that we're getting to see more development of Stark in this season. Season 1 was more about Frieren and Fern and their dynamic. Season 2, I feel, has been more geared towards Stark and fleshing him out as a character and developing him further. It feels as if he's had a lot more dialogue, he's been given a lot more of the central light in a way that he wasn't in season 1. It just feels as if they're fleshing him out more and putting him more into the limelight, which I'm not mad about because I love Stark. As you can see, I have a Stark figure in the background. I have a lot of Frieren figures. I have Himmel, I have Frieren, I have Frieren, I have Fern, I have another Frieren, I have another Frieren, and I have a Stark, and I have another Fern coming to match the duo there, where it's Stark and Frieren standing up with their weapons. I have a Fern coming. I also recently got back into cross-stitching, and yeah, I've been cross-stitching Frieren's staff, and there are going to be flowers, which are Himmel's flowers, and I have another cross-stitch pattern that I'm going to be doing, which is the Party of Heroes weapons, and then a flower crown from when Frieren created the Field of Flowers and Himmel made that crown for her. That pattern I'm going to make after this one is done, and then there's also a pattern that is the blue moonweed flowers, and then Frieren, Fern, and Stark's weapons. And those patterns are designed to be like partner pieces. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing with these. I don't know if I'm going to hang them up in my backdrop because I haven't cross-stitched in a while, or if maybe I'll do a giveaway of them. Just if anybody is interested, we could maybe do some giveaways of cross-stitch and I will send you a piece out, but I'm just conscious of not ending up with too many pieces of cross stitch that are just lying around when they could go to a good home and be loved. But I'm going to put some on display, but I'm not going to be able to display all of them, especially because there's some patterns for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood that I want to do. There's some Attack on Titan ones, but it's been really nice to start using my hands again and getting back into old hobbies because I love cross stitch. It's very relaxing, it's very methodical, and I used to cross stitch Pokemon all the time. I am over the moon I found Frieren patterns so I can cross stitch Frieren stuff, but it's just been nice to be able to transform my newfound love and passion for anime into not just react content but actual art pieces. And if people are interested in doing giveaways for some of my cross stitch when they're finished, that's definitely something we can look into. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 6, and I'm so excited. Oh, that's such a terrifying sound. Imagine hiding from an attack and all you hear is that, like, jangle. Watching this devastation and destruction, there's nothing you can do. Oh, that poor baby. So this is a demon attack, right? It has to be. What's with the big snake-like thing? Yeah, it's very snaky looking. Kind of looks like what you see in Elden Ring, like the snake humanoids. So we have a messenger dove. They're gonna request help, aren't they, to get rid of the demons in this area. That's huge! This is gonna notify people as to what's happened here, and it's gonna get to Frieren. Frieren's gonna head that way. That's gonna be their direction and their mission now is to get this demon. Or multiple demons from what it looked like. Oh! Mommy! I'm so glad to see her again.
まだ幼い息子がいるんです。
こっちはそんな言葉数えきれないほど聞いているんだ。
You can't manipulate me.
頼むから少しは本当のことを言ってくれ。
It's to play on that emotional sentiment so that you'll let your guard down and show mercy, but they won't show mercy to you.
ゼーリエ様からの直々の討伐要請。
Oh, so it went to
魔族に襲
Seri.
われた故郷の慣れの果てか。
That's devastating.
愛着のようなものはまるでなかったが、こうしてみると寂しいも
I
の
thought
だ。
maybe it would go to Frieren. Oh, he survived against all odds. Holy shit.
村が魔族に。
分かっている。もう片付けた。
Not
奴ら
all
は
of
皆
them.
殺しにしたよ。
I don't know. There was that big one.
村のみんなは。
無事だよ。みん
It
な
was very
無事だ。
scary.
お前も助かる。一級魔法使いの新入りが一人、私と一緒に来ていてな。
She
魔法
did?
使いのくせに、女神様の魔法が使えるんだ。店もまたすぐに開けられる。どうだ、少しはマシなパンを焼けるように思ってた。ここのところ冷えた硬いパンしか食えていなくて
After
な。
everything he's
ぜ
gone
ひ焼きた
through,
てを
he's
食わせ
like,
てもらいたいもの
can
だ。
you make bread? Oh, has he passed away?
この際焼きたてでなくても構わない。売れ残りでも、昔のような失敗作でも。
怪我人はこちらに。
怪我人？気休めを言うなメトーデ。
Yeah, his body started to go limp.
見つ
Because
け
when
た
he
時にはもう
asked
助
about
からない
everyone,
状態だ
he
った。
said they're safe because he wanted to bring him peace in his final moments.
腹の怪我がもう腐り始めてたんだ。こんな奴が助かるはずがない。
He's so like apathetic, but he's still showing kindness to him. He wanted to remind him of better times before he passed. That's why he talked about the baking.
親父さんが亡くなってからはこいつが後を継いだんだが、こいつの焼くパンはあまりうまくなかった。もう食えないんだな。みんな一緒だ。こいつも寂しくない。なんで私たちではなく、こいつらなんだろうな。この村の奴らは私たちと違って、戦い
They didn't
の道を
deserve
選ん
it.
だわけじゃない。
Oh, that was a very hard hitting beginning to episode 6, wasn't it? Damn. Okay. But yeah, he knew he was already dying, and because they were friends and that childhood sentiment, he talks about having no attachment or connection to this village, that he doesn't really miss it, but it's still sad to see it destroyed. He evidently does care because he wouldn't have tried to bring him peace and comfort in his final moments. He knew he was going to die, but he didn't tell him that. He reassured him that they'd be able to get him help and that everyone else was safe and that he'd be reunited with them. Only he'd be reunited with them because he passed away. And it was just the way that his body went limp. I was like, oh, he's died. Like, there's no way he's not, because he's not clinging to him in the same way anymore. But it's the way that, like, he's talking about the baking of the bread and that connection back to him, reminding him of happier times, especially because he took over the bakery and wasn't very good at it, and was saying, you know, have you learned to make better bread? Because I'm not very picky. I would like to have something warm. And even your failures would be better than what I've been eating previously, because it's again that sentimental connection, but it's a warm memory. It's trying to find a sense of light in the dark, to have him think about something heartwarming and positive rather than what he's seen in his final moments and the devastation. He doesn't have the heart to tell him that everyone's dead. So he tries to comfort him in his own way by saying that they're all safe. And in a way, they are, as he's saying, you know, he's going to be reunited with all those that have been lost, that he won't be lonely because they'll be together in heaven, which is just heart-wrenching. But again, it's showing that he does care as much as he's talking about how like he has no emotional connection. That's not the case at all. He comes across as very like stoic, but I think that's because of everything that he's seen. He kind of has to be. He kind of has learned to mask his emotions, but it slips through in his actions and how he talks to somebody that he grew up with, his childhood friend, and the way in which he's showing empathy to the villagers of his hometown, where he's saying, you know, why did it have to be them? They didn't choose to fight. They don't deserve this. Why are we still alive when we actively took up the mantle to fight demons? We're the ones that are putting ourselves in their way, but yet we persist, and those that are innocent are gone. And you can just really empathize with his pain and that sort of existential crisis that he's going through. But I wonder if we'll not even see Frieren in this episode, because it was Seri that received the note. Seri has sent them, and they've taken out the demons, but I don't know if they've taken them all out, because there was that like ominous shadowy figure that was quite tall and had multiple eyes and was very sort of intimidating. We didn't see that. They've only shown us a single demon, and it was not one of the figures that were attacking. It wasn't the girl with the hair and the sword. It wasn't the tall horned figure that was shrouded in smoke. You can clearly see them, only their eyes through the darkness. So the fact that they haven't shown them killing them means that they're likely still out there. That what they have found are the demons that stayed behind, or like lower level demons, and the higher levels have kind of moved out to maybe attack other villages. But he's saying he has no emotional sentiment to this place. That's evidently not the truth. He does clearly have fond memories and has held on to them enough that he laments the loss of life and wants to bring peace to a childhood friend. If he really didn't care about this village or his home, then he wouldn't feel that need to do so.
死ぬのなら一級魔法使いという戦いの道を選んだ私たちであるべきだ。
ゲナウさんに責任はありません。
村をもう一回り見てくる。
He blames himself, but there was nothing he could really do.
静かに。私の目が一つ潰された。戦士が一人と潜伏した魔法使いが一人。いや、二人か。
Frieren, Stark, and Fan?
かなりの手だれだな。
Or demons?
敵だと思うか。
Frieren.
多分これは。
Like, hello there. I remember you.
フリーレンか。
As soon as they said one, no, two mages, and a warrior, I was like, it has to be them.
メトーデと一級試験の時の試験官か。確かゲナウだっけ。すごい殺意のこもった魔力だったから魔族かと思ったよ。
Because he's angry about what's happened here. He's masking it, but he's clearly upset.
フェルン大丈夫。味方だよ。
Everyone has a different way of coping with loss and grief, so this must be his way, is trying to hide it.
フェルンさんも討伐要請を受けていたんですね。
Oh,
ここで
okay.
宮殿にいたからね。
祈っているのか。
悪いか。
いや、そうは思わん。
俺の村も魔族に滅ぼされた。
Oh, so he can relate to him.
魔族って人間を食べるんだよな。
These weren't eaten.
なんで死体が残っているんだ。俺の村もそうだった。
さあな、理由は知らん。
That's so strange.
腹いっぱいでも人を殺すんだよ。
For expansion, for fun.
村に駐留していたノルム騎士団だ。
ずいぶん少人数なんですね。
村落の中流部隊なんてこんなものだ。それでも彼らはこの村にはもったいないほどの精鋭だったよ。長年村を守り続けてきた英傑だ。
驚いた。この人シュタルクよりはるかに強いね。
そりゃ俺と比べたらそうでし
剣士魔法の結果、彼らの死因
So a
は
formidable
剣による
foe
攻撃
if someone this strong could be
全員
taken
即死です
down. There was also that weird
村にい
snake
た魔族たち
thing.
は彼らの足元にも及ばない雑魚ばかりだ。
That's what I mean. Like, there's something more to this.
一緒にそいつに人類の恐ろしさを教えてあげよう。
She's like, let's get revenge. Let's go. Humanity and its resilience and refusal to give up.
こうですかね。
それだとかなり動きに無理があるな。
でも騎士たちの傷の状態だ。
Oh, she's investigating, mimicking
二
the
刀流なの
wounds.
かも。
Or there was more than one
だとしたら
sword.
今は魔力探知の範囲外にいると考えていいと思う。
Maybe it's gone to
この
attack
村の
another
試験は安
village.
全ということですね。
周辺にある魔族の拠点になりそうな場所を教えてもらったから、そこを中心に調べていこう。まあその前に夕食かな。腹が減っては戦はできぬだ。
She recognizes that she's hungry. Oh, lovely.
またこのパンか。
It's stale.
メトーでは敵の分析結果を教えて。先に敵の構成を知りたい。
じゃあ俺が渡してくるよ。
Are they gonna have a bonding moment? Like, Stark's gonna be able to relate to him?
正確な敵の構成を把握するにはもう少しかかりそうですが、分かったことはあります。
そっか。じゃあ先に作戦会議。
I love that Frieren knows Fun better than she did
の前
previously.
にやっぱり夕食にしよう
Like,
か。
she recognized that she was hungry without Fern having to say anything. That's why she's like, oh, we should eat first. Just showing how far Frieren's come in learning about the people around her that she cares about.
硬いな。
It's gonna tie back to the bread that he was hoping he could maybe have.
より強力なものに張り替えておいた。中にあいつらの死体もあるしな。
He's protecting them.
なあ、なんで死体をそのままにしてるんだ。埋葬するなら手伝うぜ。力仕事は得意なんだ。
基本的に北部高原の村落に墓地はない。あるとしても、堅牢な城塞都市の片隅か、あとはすべて魔物の少ない北部高原南端の共同墓地に埋葬され。
Probably because if you bury them here, it incites monsters to come and dig them up and eat them.
下手に墓を作ると、
Yeah.
潮に釣られて魔物が集まってくるんだ。地獄のような光景だよ。そこには骨も残らない。
It's so sad that they can't even lay their dead to rest close to home. Even in death, they don't know peace.
苦しんで死んだ人間を火にくべるなんざ、正気の沙汰じゃない。
That they should be allowed to rest in eternal sleep.
どうせこのままじゃ、誰も故郷の地で眠れない。
Just the sound of the bread.
相変わらずパンを食べている時の音じゃないですね。
No, it's
なん
not.
かこうして一緒に食事をしていると不思議な気分です。
We got another reunion. We had Weeble, we've had Methods. Hopefully we'll get Denkin, but probably not this season. It'll most likely be season 3.
なんだこいつ。
手紙を
Oh,
持っていますね。
they got a bird, they got a seed squirrel. Seed squirrel? Seed rat.
今、私はゼーリエ様の命令で、ゲナウさんと二人組で北部高原の魔族の討伐任務をしていますから。
一級魔法使いってそんなことまでするんだ。ならなくてよかったよ。
というよりも、弟子としての仕事ですね。
Oh,
一級魔法使いは基本的にゼーリエ様の弟子になることになるので。私は断りましたよ。
you did, fan. She's so proud of herself.
それで二人とも
She's
ゼ
like,
ー
I
リエ
didn't
の
do
わ
it.
がままを聞いているわけだ。
むしろもっとお役に立ちたいというか。 あの人ちっちゃくて可愛いじゃないですか。
I love her.
もちろんフリーレンさんも負けないくらい可愛らしいですよ。
She's like, who's cuter, me or Sari?
それにゲナウさんほどの反面教師もいませんしね。
お前は私のようにはなるな。
正確な魔族の数とかはまだ解析中らしいけど、一つだけ分かったことがあるぜ。
私の知る限り、二刀流はどれも基本的に攻守のバランスを保つことに、
It definitely wasn't dual wielding, it was two with swords.
つまりキリアトには自然と差が生まれるのです。
But there isn't.
大きな剣を2本操る怪力の持ち主ってことでしょうか。
やはり二刀流ではどうしても動きに無理が生じてしまいます。
おっと、悪い。
すみません。敵は四刀流です。
Whoa, what?
そうか。騎士や建物に刻まれた切り跡を見る限り、そう考える方が自然だった。
Excuse me? No! What the
四
fuck?
刀流。
Oh, that's insane! No! That's insane. 4 blades. I thought there was maybe more because there was a girl demon that was also moving around with a sword. So I thought, oh, maybe it's her, but evidently not. It's one demon with 4 blades. That's insane. That is genuinely crazy. Because there was the lower demon that was killed, there was the weird snake thing, but there was also a girl that was walking around, but we didn't see if she was one of the two that was put down. But that's crazy, especially when they're like, oh yeah, no, it's not logical for it to be 2 swords because the attacks don't quite work out that way. And I was like, oh yeah, but there was a girl. And I know they killed 2 demons when they arrived here, but they said they were lower level. So I was like, well, we only saw them kill 1 of the demons, even though they said they killed 2 of them. We only saw them kill the boy, who we didn't actually see in that opening scene. But there was a girl with longish hair that also was carrying like a longsword. So I thought, oh, maybe they're just working together. But no. 4. 4. Is 1 not enough? 2 is not enough. 4. I just love how contradictory he's being in that he says, I bear no attachment to this place, but it's still sad seeing it like this. He does have attachment to this place. The fact that he's talking about the bakery, he's talking about this young boy being a childhood friend. He knows that the bread that he makes isn't the same quality as his dad's, even enough to make a joke about it. He talks about how he'll be able to reopen his shop, bringing him peace and comfort in his final moments. He doesn't have the heart to tell him that everyone else is dead. He says, they're safe and you'll be okay too, because I brought a first mage here. She'll be able to help heal your wounds. You'll be able to rebuild your shop. He's bringing back these warm memories and this hope and aspiration for something more. He's bringing peace and comfort to someone that he already knows is dying, that he's not going to make it. And then talks about having no attachment to this place, which is absolute bullshit. And then we have that flashback to him being younger and sat by the tree reading the book and remembering his childhood friend as he was delivering bread and he stopped to wave at him and his little missing tooth. If he didn't care, if he didn't have an attachment to the place, he wouldn't have these memories. He wouldn't have this fondness. And then he says to Method, don't end up like me, which I wonder if it could be related to this stoicism that he's kind of inherited, that he doesn't show his emotions, that he maybe sees it as a vulnerability. He doesn't want other people to know about it because he's scared that it'll be used against him. But people also cope with trauma in different ways. His actions are contradicting his words and his claims because someone that didn't care wouldn't go to this extent. The fact that he put a barrier up to ensure that no monsters could get into the church and desecrate the dead, the fact that he feels guilt in that he's saying it's not fair that they should die when we first mages are the ones that are looking for a fight. Why are we still alive when those that don't choose this path, don't invite violence into their lives, have to suffer, have to pay the price? This isn't fair. And Method can even read that in him where she's saying, like, it's not your fault. You know, we didn't get here in time. There was no way for us to get here in time. You can't blame yourself for it, because he does blame himself. And I think it's probably to do with his past that maybe he feels like it's a weakness to show how he really feels, especially because when Frieren shows up and she even says, like, I thought you were actually going to kill me. Your attack was that aggressive, because he's angry. He's furious about what's happened to this village, about what happened to the people that he knows, to the childhood friend that he grew up with. He doesn't want these people to have suffered this fate, and he feels like it's not fair that they should have, and that he couldn't do anything to prevent it. So that anger and rage is manifesting in his attack towards Frieren. Before he knew it was Frieren, he just thought it was maybe a demon. But as soon as they said, oh, 2 mages and a warrior, I was like, oh, it has to be Frieren, Stark, and Fan. But it was just funny when they went, 1 mage. Wait, no, 2 mages. Because both Frieren and Fan suppress their mana, so it's really hard to read clearly how many mages there are. And it's likely Fan that's not being detected, because Frieren was the first one to make entry and Fern was back towards the windows. Kind of like in season 1 when they were saving Graf Granite and it was Stark that went in and Fern suppressed her mana and was like hiding outside and was sort of the sneak attack. That was kind of the same premise, only Frieren was the one that went in first and Stark was kind of chilling because he can't suppress his mana. So he can't really be sneaky because they'll always detect him. But it's nice that we got another reunion. I think we'll probably not see any of the others until maybe season 3, because this hunt for the demon wielding 4 blades is evidently going to go into the next episode and potentially past that. But I wonder if Frieren knows who it is, because obviously wielding 4 blades is incredibly unique. So I wonder if she maybe has an inkling or she's ran into them before. But I'm sure there's demons that even she's not ran into that maybe she's heard of but has never like actually confronted. But whoever this is terrifying. Like 4 blades is insane. But I love that Stark is able to relate to him. Stark lost his village to a demon attack. He can understand that sense of anger, but also guilt that you couldn't do anything to prevent it, that you should be alive while everyone else is dead. It's almost like survivor's guilt. And I think Stark is able to kind of see that in him, which is why he's like, I'll go and check on him, I'll take him dinner. And why he also was willing to open up to him about his own village having been attacked. I think he's able to sense in him this rage, even though he's not letting it show on the surface. It's definitely simmering within him. This idea that the bodies aren't being eaten, yeah, it's very strange. It does seem like maybe it's for fun or it could be distraction. But they said in this episode that demons will still kill even if they're full. So it's not solely for eating. It could be that they gain pleasure from it. It could be that they want to expand and control the territory and they don't want the humans in that area. But I'm sure they'll kind of delve into that because, again, they wouldn't bring up this premise of it being weird that this isn't the first time a village has been sorted and humans haven't been eaten. They've just been left there. Almost as if it's like sending a message, or it's because they're not doing it to eat them. They're doing it either because they want to exert their power on humanity by making them scared of what they're capable of doing. It could be a psychological thing in which they're wanting to strike so much fear into humans that they leave the Northern Plateau and then they can take control of its territories once more, because there's this reoccurring theme in season 2 of homeland, of not wanting to leave where you have grown up, where your family lineage is from, this connection to the land itself and its history, and this understanding that most of the people in the north are never going to leave their homes, because to leave their homes is to accept defeat in their mind. This is something that means so much to them because it forms their ties and connection to their family lineage, to those that have passed, to those that have paved the way for this village to even exist in the north. And to just run and leave it all behind is to leave that connection behind and knowing that you'll never be able to go back to it. So there's this stubbornness, there's this refusal to allow the demons to drive them out, this resilience. And it ties into Frieren saying, let's show them how terrifying humanity can be. I think the demons could be looking to try and drive them out further by attacking villages, leaving the bodies to be found, trying to almost wage a psychological as well as a physical warfare on humans to try and get the land that they reside on, because humanity refuses to be driven out. They refuse to quit. They won't be forced out of their homes by demons because it means more to them than the demons will ever understand, because they don't understand the human emotions, the human connection to that land in the same way. So in their mind, they think we can eventually drive them out without realizing it's just kind of making them more resilient to stay where they are, to refuse to give the demons what they want by being driven out, refusing to allow themselves to continuously live in fear. Because what we keep seeing is this resilience in the north, this refusal to allow the demons to completely ruin their way of life, that despite the hardships and the warfare and the threat of attacks and the monsters that reside within the north, people still find a way to continue living their lives, to find joy and love and pleasure in this world, and to have families and connection with others. They refuse to be beaten by demons. It's that resilience, I think, that demons don't understand, that they'll never understand, that they'll think they can just wage this war and they'll eventually give up, but it's not going to happen. It's just going to make them even more stubborn, especially the fact that even once you're dead, you can't even reside in your homeland anymore. You can't rest in peace there. You're forced out of it because the body decaying may attract monsters which will harm the rest of the village. You're driven to the south in order to be buried far away from the monsters. So the fact that even in death you can't have peace is just incredibly tragic. But I think that's what makes those in the north all the more persistent to not allow the demons to win. And that's why they are terrifying, because humanity is anything but weak. We are incredibly stubborn individuals. But I think it could tie to psychological warfare, maybe. I'm not sure, but phenomenal episode. Cannot wait to see episode 7 and the 4-blade wielding demon, and to see if Frieren has a connection, because Frieren seems to have a connection with everyone we meet in the show. So it would not shock me if she's like, oh, I know who you are talking about exactly because I've met them before. And then it's like, oh, give us more flashbacks, please. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. Until next episode, bye!